What is up, Group Coach Nation? Okay, super stoked about this. Louise McDonnell is here with us. We're going to talk about paid versus organic traffic. And here's why I asked Louise to come on this call. She's been in our community for a while, know her, send clients to her all the time. Like, she's a rock star. She lives over in the old country. You'll hear that in her accent in a second. But here's why I asked her. And then Louise, I'll let you introduce yourself. She's really good at what she does. And her agency teaches and executes on paid lead gen, like paid traffic ads, that kind of stuff, and organic. Okay. They do both. She doesn't have a dog in this hunt of which one you choose. She's just really well versed on the topic and how it works and why, which one you should be using when, all that kind of stuff. So that's what we're going to break out today. I wanted somebody who is completely neutral to talk this subject through, because we get this question a ton. Where do I get my traffic from? Do I have to do ads? Do I need to do organic? All the stuff, right? So, Louise, thank you so much for being here. Introduce yourself.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Chris. I am absolutely delighted to be here. So my name is Louise McDonnell, and my business, I'm founder of SellOnSocial.Media. So we have two divisions. We have an agency where we create sales-focused digital strategies and we implement them for our clients. And then I have an online academy, and we teach business owners who can't afford to outsource their social media how to follow the process that we do to get them a sales-focused social media strategy.
Love it. Oh, and hello, Facebook user who's watching live with all the 3 thumbs up. Thanks for the thumbs up. That's funny. Okay. For you podcast listeners, we do this live when we do these. So there's people who chat. By the way, if you're watching this or listening to this live and you can chat, feel free, ask your questions. That's why we do these things, so you can get your questions answered. Okay. Louise, let's talk this out. There is real stuff. Okay. Real stuff. Everybody's tried some sort of paid or organic. Organic could be direct messages. It could be just posting stuff on your favorite platform. Paid could be on all kinds of platforms, from Google to Facebook, anything Meta, LinkedIn, TikTok, all the stuff. Tell me this, like, everybody listening in here is typically coaches, consultants, experts. We're all authors, speakers, building our group coaching, scalable coaching models, right? How do we know? Like, okay, I need more leads. I know who my market is. I got an offer that's converting. And like, do I start with social or paid? I'm sure you get that question a ton, because we get that question a ton. What do you say first?
I say, and I know you don't like this answer, but I'm going to say it anyhow, Chris.
I mean, it depends. I know there's a lot of stuff there, but like, yeah, what do you do? Yeah, go ahead.
I'd say, it's very unlikely that you won't use both. What works is showing up consistently, which is really hard to do. So showing up consistently works. Being clear on your message when you show up consistently, so you're not confusing people, that works. When you're showing up, knowing why you're there and what you're trying to achieve and what your goal is. So those 3 things work. When you show up consistently, organically, you tend to get better results when you use paid. Because you already have an audience that are there, that already like you, that follow you, that tune in consistently. So when you're there and you're posting consistently, organically, and then you have some kind of a launch or some kind of an event where you get people in, you sell to them, your paid advertising helps make sure that those warm organic leads see your offer, you get them into whatever that event is. Maybe it's a live launch, maybe it's any type of a launch. So the paid guarantees that you get in front of the people that you need to get in front of, and you get them in, you sell to them. But the paid also has another important function. It also gets you in front of people who aren't connected with you organically, and who may then start connecting with you, may start following you, they might be so impressed with you immediately that they reach out and they ask for a discovery call, or they may sit back and watch you for weeks, months, or years, depending on who they are, and depending on who you are, and depending on what you're selling and how high your ticket is.
Yeah. So the paid gets you right there where you want to be, but there's a little bit of stalker in all of us, right? So the organic really helps people get to know you. Okay. So what if somebody says, look, I'm scared to death of paid. Don't want to do it yet. You're not going to talk me into it. Give me 6 months. Like, is it okay just to start with social?
It
just takes
is
longer. Like, what's the deal there?
Yeah. What I would say to people is that you don't need to be afraid of paid if you know what you're doing. So so let's say you're running your ads on, actually, whether you're running your ads on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or LinkedIn, they're all more or less the same type of ads. Facebook probably has the most number of objectives that you can select from. So I don't want to get too technical and lose people. But what I will say is the number one reason that I see people's ads don't working is that they're running the wrong type of ads. So, and I would have even clients who have come to me from other agencies and they're like, oh, well, I wanted to get leads. So, and I go, show me the ads you ran. I'm like, you were never going to get leads on a traffic ad. Okay, you were never going to get leads on that type of ad. You needed to run a specific ad to get a specific outcome. So generally when people are afraid of running ads, what I tend to do is have a look inside and see what they've done and see where they've spent their money. And we can quickly also kind of recognize through the different metrics and performance metrics on the ad. Like, was it the ad that wasn't working? Was it the landing page that wasn't working? Was it the speed of the landing page that wasn't working? So if you can understand why something hasn't worked, then you can improve performance the next time around. So that's that. So generally, I'm usually talk people into spending some money. You don't have to spend a huge amount of money. That's the good news. You just need to spend. You just need to be aware of what you're spending and know if it's working and if the ad is performing properly. If it is, let it run. If it's not, you got to change it up. And then after that, you got to really measure the return on investment. So that's why I would always say, Chris, that it's important that, when you're planning your social media, that there's some kind, especially if you're a coach or a consultant, there has to be some kind of an event so many times a year where you have a launch. Because other than that, you will just meander along through the year, creating content and warming people up and making friends with people, but you won't generate leads.
Interesting. So you're saying a launch, like doing some sort of launch or event or something like that, is better than just constantly running ads to a landing page that gets them to watch a VSL and buys into whatever.
See, it really depends on what you're selling as well. So it depends on the value of the ticket that you're selling. Or you could spend a lot of time just doing it like direct marketing via social media. I know you found that effective and setting up discovery calls. You can do that, and you can work with affiliates. There's so many different things that you can do. But if you're looking to use social media, organic, social media by having an account and posting on it, the days of just doing it organically, I think they're gone. I would have said, maybe, like, I'm doing this since 2009. I would have said years and years ago, you don't need to use paid. I'll show you how to get organic reach without having paid. But the problem is now you can't guarantee that you're going to get reach. You can't guarantee that the posts that you want to do well are going to do well. And you can't guarantee who sees them organically. But you've more control over that if you turn it into a paid promotion.
Makes sense. Yeah. There's so much noise and so many other people doing paid. You gotta join the party.
And then doing paid on its own. So just turning up, let's say you have an event or something coming up in 3 or 4 weeks' time, and just turning up out of the blue and running ads, that doesn't really work because you won't have the warm traffic, the warm brand awareness built up through showing up consistently and doing the boring stuff week in, week out.
This is such a long game, and I think people don't realize you got to dig your well before you're thirsty in this case, and you really do got to get out there and start before you are desperate. So, okay. So many platforms, all the meta stuff, Facebook, Instagram. Then we got TikTok, LinkedIn, and anything else you want to pick on. Where do we go? Like, again, all of us are coaches, consultants, experts. We're all leading high-ticket group coaching programs or masterminds, that kind of thing. Which platform is right? And is there a way to like talk that through right now, or is it so dependent on? I mean, the audiences are everywhere, right? I mean, every demographic is on every platform. What's your advice there?
And my advice is to go where your audience hang out.
Okay.
So there are some businesses that I would just say, just don't even bother with Facebook, Instagram, and even TikTok. Just stay on LinkedIn. That's where your audience are. That's where you're going to reach them. There are other people then that I would say, yeah, you got to stick with LinkedIn, but I know for sure that if you ran those ads across the meta platforms, you'd certainly achieve your objectives as well. So again, it depends on who you're targeting, and and again what you're selling. So if you're selling a lower ticket item or a higher ticket item, just the higher ticket items, it's just got a longer, sometimes it's generally got a longer customer journey, so but yeah, it really depends on your clients who are hanging out. And here's the thing, if you're not too sure, what you do is you test and you look at the results. You have different, you have different lead magnets, different landing pages. You can have a landing page specifically for LinkedIn, which links to a separate thank you page. You could replicate that easily, do the same for Meta, easily for TikTok, easily for your email, so that you can test and see where your leads are coming from. And then you can ask people as well. And sometimes, Chris, what happens is that it's cross-platform. Sometimes people see you, they may see you in more than one place, and that's okay. Because we need to get in front of people multiple times, consistently on message, for them to get it into their heads and take an action.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we got to pick our platform where they hang out. Is there, like, I hear people say, oh, there's like no really good leads on Facebook. There are all the people with money are on LinkedIn, or there's just people are just scrolling on Instagram. They're not there to buy something. Like, you hear those comments, but is that true or not?
No, I've run so many different campaigns that have been really effective for clients that are selling diamonds, that have we've run really effective campaigns on Facebook and Instagram, and I wouldn't discount it. No, not at all. I wouldn't discount it. Yeah, definitely Facebook and Instagram it's still, and I know from running our agency clients, it's still the platform, and actually Facebook is still the platform that people discount all the time. But that's still when you go back and you check where the leads came from, and you check where the results came from, you check where the sales came from, Facebook is still incredibly important. So it may not be people's social media platform of choice, but they're still hanging out there, and there's still people, hanging out there consistently. And the great news is, because Meta owns both of platforms, Facebook and Instagram, that you can run campaigns and the algorithm will decide where it's going to spend the money. So on Facebook and Instagram, you don't have to say, oh, I need to spend this part of my budget in this location targeting these people. What's a recent change that has happened in the last 6 months or so within the Meta platform is that the audience targeting is now broader. So we as advertisers, we don't really start targeting niches within that platform. You target a broad audience, and the algorithm will find the people who are responding, who are taking the action that you want them to take, whether that's download a lead magnet or sign up to a discovery call or sign up to your event, and it will find more people like that for you. So you just need to set your budget and watch how it works. Watch the results.
That's brilliant. That's really, really handy, actually. I love that you're separating. This is something I fall into personally. I mean, sorry, Facebook, I know you're listening, but a lot of us have feelings about these platforms. Like, depends on who's in the media that week, what scary stuff they've done with our data or whatever, right? So we have all these feelings. But I like that you're separating my feelings based on what I'm exposed to when I'm scrolling or watching whatever, versus the real data of, hey, where's the money? Where are the sales coming from? Let's make a business decision. That's such a great distinction that is so hard to do.
Chris, you got to leave your feelings at the door. If you don't like
but we're humans. It's almost impossible, but it's true. You're right.
I say that to people all the time, and they're like, but I hate Facebook. I really hate it. And I'm like, I don't care that you hate it. You can hate it personally. That's totally fine. That's your own business. But this is your business. And if this is going to work for your business, you got to get over it.
Yeah, I know.
And Facebook drive me a bit crazy as well. Like, I have clients that have parts of, they have a page disabled, or something's disabled because they did something they didn't realize 2 years ago. And there's all that mess that goes on. But at the end of the day, if it brings you in business, if it brings you in more money into your bank account, and if it helps you and it makes sense, then you just got to dance their tune and you got to use it.
Yeah, that is such good advice. It's such good advice. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I love this. Okay. So when we're like sitting down to it, you're sitting down with the client. Let's say I'm your client. And I'm like, okay, Louise, I'm scared about organic stuff, the paid stuff, all these different landing pages. It's complicated. Like, what if we make mistakes? What if it takes 6 months to start getting traction? All the things, right? I sit down with you and I say, what's next? Like, how do you help me decide what in the world I should do first?
Well, the first thing you do is you set your goals of what you want to achieve, because everything that you're going to do within your campaign is going to come from those goals.
Like, I want to make this much per month. I want to sell this many units per month. And then can I also say, and here's the budget I want to put to it? Or do you have to tell me, well, here's how much that costs to attract those people? Or do you know at that point?
So even like somebody's coming saying, yes, I want X amount of leads, X amount of sales per month. We'd sit down and we go, okay, how are we going to achieve that? What's the strategy we're going to put in place to achieve that? And then everything, all the content, everything that you do, paid, organically, content, whatever, that comes from that strategy. So at that point, you decide what you're going to do. What are the key points in that campaign? When is it going to start? When is it going to finish? When are you going to measure the results? If you know by being successful if you're successful in achieving your goals, how much it's worth to you financially, it's much easier to set a budget aside to spend, to achieve it. And even if, you have this is, if we hit the target, this is what we're going to sell. If what's the minimum we need to do to cover the cost of the campaign,
Mm-hmm.
So, but like, people that take that approach are successful. Now you have to have a service that people want to buy. So no amount of marketing in the world is going to get you over that. So you have to have something that is in demand, and you have to be good at what you do. So all of these factors, come to play as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so as you know, we teach offers at Group Coach Nation, a lot of offer conversations, so many offer conversations. Love that. How much of a confirmed offer do you need before you can do, or somebody like you can do good work? Do you need somebody to have sold a certain number of coaching seats or masterminds or group? Like, what do you need before you're like, yeah, that's legit, you have confirmed data?
Yeah, so I would say, Chris, like, for anyone listening, what Chris does is absolutely amazing, because he gives you that clarity on your offer. And it gives you, and I have done Chris's program, so I actually found it amazing, really, really good, because sometimes I go through this with other people, but you don't do it yourself. And I would say that, so having that clarity around what your offer is, and being confident to be able to go out and sell, is absolutely the starting point. So many people will come and I've seen them and they don't have clarity, and they keep changing. Every time you talk to them, they're changing. I'm like, no, you need to decide what your offer is, be clear on that, and that's your starting point. And I think, this is going to be a great ad for you, Ed, but like, if you're not sure on if you don't have that clarity, that's your starting point. You can't really, it's very hard to move forward effectively if you're not clear on what it is you're selling, who it is you're targeting, what their pain points are, and how you can solve that. And once you have that, that's going to help you with your messaging for your organic content, your paid content, your lead magnets, your webinars, your evergreen webinars, your live webinars, your interviews, your everything that you do comes from having that clarity of understanding.
So that's awesome. Thank you for saying all that. How I'm so glad you're in our world too. Like, this is so fun. Like, you're such a fun person to work with. And some clients to you too, because what you do is really, really good. How many does somebody need to have a certain number of offers sold before they call someone like you to say, I need 100 more of these people?
No.
Okay. Like, what kind of history, maturity, whatever do you need to
But
help?
what I would say is that what they do need is enough lead time. So if somebody's very clear on their offer, then they need to start building an audience, and that may be through organic and some paid. And then they need to figure out what their funnel is going to be. So, and another trend which has really emerged in 2023 is that the lead times are now getting longer. Okay, so I would say, somebody who's had no social media presence whatsoever that starts showing up today, like they should not expect results for at least 3, maybe 4 months. Now you might start getting some traction, you might start getting some leads, but if at the end of 3 months you decided you wanted to do a webinar, something like that, which is what I'd really recommend, because they're wonderful for just getting people in and exciting, getting them all excited and getting them to take an action. So the first one you do might not be, the most successful webinar you do, because you're learning and because you're building an audience. But every subsequent launch that you do, you're growing your own expertise in delivery. I delivered that webinar. I know what worked. I know what didn't work. I know I'll change that the next time. The audience, you'll have the same people. Like, you could do the same free webinar 3 or 4 times, and you might find the same person comes along to every single one, and you're like, my goodness, what are they doing here again, right? But every time they come, they're picking up something different, and they're growing their relationship with you, and they will eventually, when they are ready, they will reach out. So that's what I would say, is just give yourself enough lead time. Just start. Don't have realistic expectations about when the results are going to come back. But you will get results, but it just will build over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when you're starting out organically, like if you've got no followers, if you have 30 followers or 100 followers and they're all your first cousins and your best friends and, all your family and friends, they're wonderful, because in the real world, they're the people who are going, I know a coach, they'll be able to help you. They would do that, and they will do that through social media as well. So they're still really important. But that's when it's really important that if you put out a really good quality content, that, that you just put maybe $30, $40, $50 to it, and just make sure that you're pushing it out there all the time to get in front of people that match the profile of your ideal customer. Another thing that's changed within the algorithm, especially on Meta in the last year, it's so powerful, is that the retargeting that we would have taught people how to do in the past, the algorithm's doing that all the time anyway. Wow. So if you put up a nice interview like this, or something really useful and helpful for people, and you spend $50 to push it, you've got no followers, you spend $50 to get it out there, and it gets in front of people, and let's say 10 people or 15 people watch the whole thing. The next time you do something similar on a similar topic and you put some money to it again, guarantee you they'll see that. They'll see it a few times. It'll pop up into their newsfeed. And that's how you start growing. That's how they go, oh, who is that person? Oh, I watched them before. Oh, I'm going to follow them this time. I'm going to bookmark it. Mm-hmm. And when you start seeing on your posts, when you start seeing your followers increasing, or when you start seeing people bookmark, your posts, or saving them, or send them on to somebody else, or tag somebody else, that's when you know what you're doing is having an impact.
This is extremely helpful. Kind of takes the anxiety out of it a little bit. Okay, so one more question, but first, how do you want people reaching out to you? I've got your website right here. If you're on audio only, by the way, SellOnSocial.Media. This is Louise McDonnell from SellOnSocial.Media. That's her site. Is that where you want people to connect to you, Louise?
Yeah, you can, or if you're on social media, find me under SellOnSocial.M, or if you're on Amazon, where's my new planner?
Yeah, she's so good. This awesome. Social media planner and workbooks. She's holding up on the screen. If you're listening audio only, just look her up. Sell on Social Media, Louise McDonnell. Yeah, she has an awesome, huge, fantastic workbook. Go for it, Louise.
It's like a social media planner and guide. So the first section of it is to help you get that clarity of message, it's a workbook, you fill in the answers, and it helps you get clear on your strategy. There's 400 prompts in it for special days, so you'll never be stuck for inspiration for showing up on your social media. For example, I'm just going to open up here in January. I'm just going to pull something out here. Like, some of these are crazy, but the 10th of January is National Cut Your Energy Costs Day. So if you're a coach that is in any way related to that, you could come up with something really awesome. Or here's another one, National Dress Up Your Pet Day. So I don't know, everybody, I suppose, can tap into that. So there's over 400 prompts, like National Hugging Day. So if you're into life coaching, or if you're into relationship, there's over 400 prompts in the planner, more than one for every day of the year. And And when you buy the planner, you can actually download the free resources. You get it in electronic format too, in an Excel sheet. So you can sit down and plan out your whole year. When am I going to do my launches? When is it going to make sense to do my, to do something different and stand out on, push everybody to attend on those particular days. The planner helps you show up week in, week out, and it helps you be strategic, and it helps you achieve your goals. So on Amazon.
Louise, I am the luckiest person alive to have you in our mastermind. Like, you're so cool. Okay, my last question, then we got to go. We got like 2 minutes left. Do you, like, when you talk to a client who's been burnt before, they've tried ads, they've hired social media people, whatever. This is not you selling your service. I'm just saying, what do you tell somebody? You talk to somebody, it just doesn't work for me. I've tried 3 agencies, coaches, consultants. We've all heard that story. How do you help people kind of get over that fear?
Well, the first thing I tend to do, honestly, is I'll say, let me have a look at what you actually have done. And I'll just look at it and I'll say, okay, generally I'll be able to pick things out that and honestly, I just would tell them, this is what you need to do to do differently. Look, at the end of the day, it's all about having your strategy aligned, right? So you have to have the foundation right. You have to have what you teach, Chris, which is getting, clear on your offer, on your messaging, all of that. You have to have that. And then after that, you go out, you start pushing out people organically. You have to do that in a way that's going to help grow brand awareness. Then you have to augment that with paid reach. Then you got to, review what's working and not working. And over time, what you do is you just to keep aligning that strategy until you get it to a place where it's working effectively for you. And here's the thing, it's just one last message I'll leave you with. It's okay if things don't work. It's like failure is an essential ingredient to success, because the chances of it working out and you getting it 100% right the first time are really, really low. And what's important is that you don't give up, is that you go, well, why didn't it work? And what can we do the next time to make it work better?
That is good advice. I'll leave it at that, because Louise, you just saying expect failure in the process. That is so important. And so few coaches or consultants or experts like you say that, because they just want to be like, no, come on over. We got you. It'll work 100%. Come on, let's be honest. I love your transparency. Thank you. All right, Group Coach Nation. We always say this: do work, get results. But for realsies, do work, get results. Louise McDonnell, thank you so much. Check her out, SellOnSocial.Media. We'll have links down below wherever you're finding all this stuff. Look her up on Amazon, get that planner too. But Louise, just thank you for the honest advice. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay. Talk soon, guys. Do the work.
Bye-bye.
Bye.